Hey friends, I'm excited to share with you this AI generated podcast which summarizes my session at the CareerUp function of the BAPS Swaminarayan Saranpur temple. Go ahead and get inspired.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, like always, we're giving you that shortcut to being well-informed. We're digging into some really interesting source material today.
Yeah, it's from this pretty high-energy presentation, actually.
Yeah.
And right at professionals, especially in IT, data science, that kind of thing.
Right, data analytics, too. And it's less, lecture-y and more like a practical playbook for actually managing your career path.
Exactly. And our mission here is really specific. We're not about just vague motivational stuff.
Bluff.
No fluff. We want to pull out the actual usable advice on how you can get from where you are now, your current job, your skills, to a place where you feel, well, real professional satisfaction.
Okay.
And the focus is on what the speaker stressed: commitment, measurement, and maybe surprisingly, soft skills.
What's really striking is the audience feedback we saw from this program. It kind of immediately flags the big issues. The talk was broadly about career growth, right? But the biggest chunk of interest, like 40%, was dead on focused on needing to skill up. People feel that need for the technical tool.
Oh, absolutely. They know they need the next algorithm, the next framework. But, and this is key, right alongside that, another 35% said they feel a real lack of mentorship or leadership.
Huh. So there's this tension.
Big time. It's like people are ready to work hard, they want to learn, but they feel like they're missing the guidance to make it all count for, actually moving up.
So they need the how, not just the why. Okay, let's get into this roadmap then. Section 1, the step up. The whole starting point seems to be that careers don't just happen.
Right. You need courage, you need commitment, you have to actively decide to progress. It's not passive.
And a big part of this is what the speaker called the baby step idea.
Yes, the baby step philosophy, which for our audience, people used to massive projects, complex data problems is really important. You can't tackle a giant 6-month goal overnight.
Okay.
The source really hammers this.
Yeah.
You get there bit by bit, incrementally.
And there was that lovely Gujarati saying used to illustrate this.
Ah, yes. Inputs therapy is
mean.
literally bit by bit, the lake fills up.
I like that.
And for a data pro, that's not just some nice saying, right? That's agile development. That's iterative modeling. You launch an MVP, you iterate, you improve a tiny bit every day.
So these small, consistent efforts are the only way to get to the ultimate goal.
That's the argument, is the path to the ultimate goal.
And that goal is described using this word moninline. Now, usually that has like spiritual meanings, right? Liberation.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good point in translation here. In this context, Moni is more of a metaphor for, let's say, professional mastery.
Okay.
Like reaching a state of deep internal satisfaction where your skills, your role, your purpose, they all kind of click. It's not just about being happy. It's about feeling that ultimate professional freedom that comes from disciplined work.
And that discipline comes back to a daily habit the speaker insists on.
Yes, asking yourself every single night, what did I learn today?
Every night. And not just for newbies.
No, he specifically said he still does this. At 59 years old, if he hasn't learned something new, he feels the day was, well, kind of wasted.
Wow.
It forces those micro goals, the baby steps, and makes you accountable, like immediately.
Speaking of accountability.
Yeah.
And maybe immediate feedback, this brings us to that pretty unique anecdote, almost sci-fi.
Huh. The ultimate audience engagement tool.
Huh.
Yeah, he talked about this entrepreneurial idea.
Using eye scans.
Biometric eye scans, yeah, like the ones for national ID cards, apparently, and hooking them up in seminar rooms.
To see who's zoned out or asleep.
Basically, yeah, to identify in real time who's engaged and who's not.
That sounds intense.
It sounds totally wild.
Yeah.
But underneath the tech bro gimmick, the real point is about this extreme commitment to measurable, undeniable feedback. It's kind of funny, kind of terrifying, but it makes the point. If you're serious about getting better, you have to welcome honest feedback, even if it's uncomfortable. No hiding.
That actually leads perfectly into section 2, defining and measuring success. Because if you want to get better, trying hard isn't really a metric.
Exactly. Especially as you move into management roles, which many IT and data folks do, you can't rely on vague stuff like, oh, I made a lot of calls, but nothing converted.
Right. That doesn't help anyone figure out what went wrong or what to do next.
It offers zero diagnostic power. No way to improve the process.
But hang on. For technical roles like data science, just measuring volume, like lines of code or number of calls, doesn't always make sense, does it? Isn't quality or impact more important than just, say, going from 20 calls to 21?
That's a really critical point for this audience. You're absolutely right. The measurement has to be relevant. It has to shift.
Okay, so how?
So instead of just more calls, maybe it's about consistency and quality metrics. Things like reducing technical debt by a specific percentage per sprint, or improving deployment success rates, maybe from 95% to 98%. Or for a data scientist, maybe it's nudging model accuracy from 80% to 81%.
And then showing why that 1% matters to the business.
Exactly. Quantifying the value of that improvement. Now, that's a measurable goal. It clarifies expectations for everyone.
So the focus isn't just a one-off jump. It's about holding that new level, getting to 81% and making sure you don't slip back to 79%.
That consistency is the point of measuring. It allows comparison, and comparison builds reliability. And reliability, that's what gets you considered for leadership.
Okay, this brings us to kind of the core tension. We said 40% of the audience wants the technical skill up. So why does the speaker argue that the real roadblock later isn't technical skill?
Well, because pretty much everyone at a certain level hits a technical plateau, or at least reaches a very high level of competence. We all know there are two sides to professional life, right?
Technical ability and soft skills.
Yep, the two pillars. If you're already a high-performing data person, your tech skills got you where you are, probably a good salary, interesting work. But the argument here is really clear. Soft skills become the actual key to getting further.
Why, though? Why isn't being the best coder or analyst enough to keep climbing?
Because your individual brilliance only scales so far. One person, even a genius coder, has a limited impact. Your impact really multiplies when you can, say, explain your complex model effectively to the VP of marketing, or when you can manage client expectations smoothly, or negotiate for resources for your team, or sell the reason behind your technical choices.
Ah, it's the translation piece.
Exactly. That inability to bridge the gap between the tech and the business, or between people, that's often where careers stall out.
Which makes the speaker's own career path a really good example. He spent, 20 years deep in tech?
Yeah, 1989 to late 2008. He called it hardcore tech. Coding, programming, project management, pure tech focus.
And then
a massive shift, what he called a hairpin bend, right into sales and business development.
wow, that's quite a pivot.
It really is. And it proves the point, no matter how specialized you start, leadership demands learning beyond that initial expertise. You need communication, influence. He went from optimizing machines to, optimizing people and processes.
And he mentioned staying sharp by reading stuff from places like McKinsey and Gartner.
Yeah, keeping that balance, understanding both the tech trends and the broader business picture.
Right.
It ties back to that daily question, what did I learn today? It can't just be about code.
Which sets up Section 4 perfectly. Putting those soft skills into practice, specifically by understanding personality types, how to actually interact better.
Right. Moving from theory to, okay, what do I do differently? The presentation used a pretty common framework. Driver, expressive, analytical, amiable.
With 4 quadrants, basically.
Yeah, that kind of model. And they acknowledged, there are more complex systems out there, 16 types, 28 types, whatever. But just getting a handle on these 4 basics is a huge first step.
Why does it matter so much in practice?
Because communication is everything. Professional relationships depend on it. Personal ones, too. Frankly, works with partners, family, anyone. You need to adapt your style.
Okay, let's make it practical. Imagine our typical analytical data scientist loves data, precision, details. They need to pitch a big project to an expressive VP, someone who's all about the big picture, vision, relationships. How do they adjust?
Great example. So if that analytical person was talking to a driver type, someone focused purely on results, efficiency, bottom line.
They need to be super direct.
Absolutely. Practice clarity, get straight to the point, no fluff, benefits first. Bang, bang, bang.
But for the expressive VP,
Complete opposite strategy. Ditch the deep dive technical specs. You need to practice storytelling.
paint the picture.
Exactly. Here's where we are now. Here's the exciting future this unlocks. Here's how it helps us win. It's a totally different approach.
And that ability to switch gears, that's the soft skill.
That is the soft skill lever. It lets you get your message across effectively, regardless of who's listening.
Yeah.
And apparently this stuff works. They did an interactive poll in the session.
Yeah.
And something like 50, 60% of the people who tried to guess their own style Their guess matched the actual survey result.
That's actually pretty high. It shows people can get a sense of their own style if they think about it.
Right. It highlights that self-awareness piece. You can't really adapt to others until you understand your own default settings, your own communication biases.
It's interesting how it all loops back: the commitment, the measurement, the soft skills. It connects to the baby steps again, doesn't it?
Totally. It takes patience, baby steps to learn how to tell a story if you're naturally analytical. It takes commitment to practice clarity if you tend to meander.
So, wrapping this up for you, the listener, we started with this need for technical skills and mentorship. What we've unpacked is that real advancement seems to need these committed baby steps in learning every day.
Right. And that your goals need to be measurable, not just busy work, but measuring consistent, impactful progress.
And maybe the biggest lever you have, especially later in your career, is honing those soft skills. Adaptability. Understanding people.
Which brings us to a final thought. Especially given that finding that 35% feeling a lack of mentorship. History matters, sure. It tells you where you came from. But the future, that's something you actively build one step at a time.
So the question is,
given that so many people feel that guidance gap, what's the specific opportunity you see now? How can you step up and become that clear, committed, adaptable mentor that maybe you wish you'd had? Because that kind of leadership, that commitment, that seems to be exactly what the professional community is asking for.
That's definitely something to think about. A powerful note to end on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next one.